This is a storm WNBA fans should have seen coming. I'm referencing Jewell Loyd's trade request out of Seattle because if you read the tea leaves, you could see that there was friction between Lloyd and her Storm teammates. Obviously, Lloyd was at the center of the accusations against the Storm coaching staff. And once the investigation came back and found that there were no violations, it was only a matter of time probably before Lloyd said she wanted out of town, because there had been some back and forth, even if it was cryptic, with teammates like Skylar Diggins-Smith online. And now we're in the NBA phase of the WNBA, where you get excited about trades and possible blockbusters. This is what happens when you've got more attention on you and you get hit with that bomb of news that comes out about Jewell Loyd wanting out. And you start to look, all right, who can acquire her? She didn't have a very good season, right? Like she definitely didn't have a very good season, but she led the league in scoring the year before. So a team like the Chicago Sky, they couldn't use a Jewell Loyd. And if you're looking at this, it comes from a Chicago paper, right? The original report comes from Annie out of Chicago, who's the Woj of the WNBA at this point. Everything she reports is basically dead on accurate, and she seems to be ahead of everybody. She had the Stephanie White news first. She has this Jewell Loyd news first. She had the Seattle Storm investigation news first. And, she's supposed to be covering Chicago. Clearly, she is on to bigger and better things at a certain point in time. No shade to the Shy. But this was an odd situation all around. Like, if you remember back when I was initially covering it, I actually even had some people accusing me of going into gossip and stirring up drama. And I really didn't think that was the case, because it came directly from the subjects. Skylar Diggins-Smith had referenced the Kendrick Lamar Euphoria lyrics, "Don't tell a lie on me, I won't tell truth about you." And if you recall, Tina Thompson had said something online, and her Instagram post had read, "Using your assumed power to harm others is always an attack on yourself. You never win. You're wrong. Will never be made right. Accept failure and move on. Stop being hella lame. It's super whack." And then she said, "Sit with that example. Shooting 36% from the field and 27% from the three-point is not the coach's fault. It's simple. Be more efficient. Basketball analogies are always the best analogies." And then Skylar Diggins-Smith said a word. Those shooting percentages are Jewell Loyd shooting percentages. She was clearly calling her out and basically saying, you weren't bullied. You just didn't get along with the coaches, and you tried to point the finger of the blame. And if you went back and listened to Nneka Ogwumike's interviews, clearly she was a big fan of Seattle Storm head coach Noel Quinn. So when Skylar Diggins-Smith is on the other side of things and Nneka Ogwumike is on the other side of things, it is not going to be a clean situation in Seattle there for Jewell Loyd, who clearly had issue. And I don't know. I mean, they did an investigation, right? Like, I don't know what went into the investigation. I also said at the time I wasn't ready to label it bullying either without knowing the facts, because what some people would call bullying, others might call tough love. I mean, if you go back and watch the careers of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, I think you could take some of their leadership qualities and refer to them as bullying in today's day and age. They weren't always easy or kind to their teammates. I remember Kobe Bryant walking in and calling them all Charmin soft, basically embarrassing them all. And some people can respond to that. That some people, it's a steel sharpens steel kind of deal. And they take that in stride and take it on the chin and continue on. Other people don't. And I'm not calling Jewell Loyd weak either, because I don't know what happened to her. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. But obviously, if you read the tea leaves, you could have seen this coming. And, it's not as if other people didn't see it coming. It was something that was actually discussed by comedian Funny Marco on Angel Reese's podcast when he was a guest a few weeks ago. And he got it pretty much spot on too. I mean, most people could have predicted it, right? Like you could have predicted it just having followed the story, but nevertheless.
Jewell Loyd. Joy was going crazy. She slowed down this season. I don't think she want to be there.
You're just the
She want to
GM. You
come to
know it
Chicago.
all.
She don't
Yo,
want to
you need to
be.
work. You need
She
to come
don't.
work with Chicago.
Yeah, she don't need to be. She don't want to be in
She from
Seattle no
Chicago.
more.
You want to get her to Chicago?
Yeah, she need to come there.
Jewel,
Her and
that.
Carter will go crazy.
So there you go. Kennedy Carter probably not going to be on the Sky, I don't think. But Jewell Loyd is a player that could make sense for them. I mean, she doesn't make sense for the Indiana Fever, I don't think, with their current roster composition. If you look around the league, the Connecticut Sun, that's a team that could use some scoring. I have to look at the salaries and how all that matches up. Some of this stuff takes more homework than simply, fantasy trades and the like, if you will. But Jewell Loyd is now on the market. She's a two-time WNBA champion. It's not like she's not accomplished in her career, even with the struggles from this past season, where she did only shoot 36% from the floor. Now, when she led the league in scoring, she only shot 37% from the floor. But her three-point percentage was way higher than it was last year, and that was the uptick in points. That's why she averaged 24.7 points a game. But if you do look at her statistical profile, the that year is an outlier. 2023 season is a bit of an outlier for her as a scorer. But nonetheless, she's an Olympian. She's a champion. She's been around the league and done a lot. So I'm sure she's going to have some value there out on the open market. And it will be interesting to see when these Storm players and soon to be former Storm player get in front of a microphone, what they have to say. Like, what is Skylar Diggins-Smith going to say? Probably not much, right? Like, probably not much, but we'd like to hear it. Same with Neko Ogwumike. We'd like to hear it. Obviously, same with the coach, Noel Quinn. We'd like to hear it. Same with Jewell Loyd. But Jewell Loyd is now deciding to move on. I think she thought perhaps that the investigation could be a reset for her, considering whatever took place out of that. But it clearly didn't go in her favor. And she decided her time there was done. So we're heading towards the offseason is going to ramp up a little bit here. We got the expansion draft coming up this week, which is cool. Free agency, I believe teams can talk to players at the end of January. Free agency itself, they can sign in February. So a lot of that is going to start moving and shaking here. But the first domino has fallen, and that is a trade request from, a WNBA star who did not like whatever was going on with her soon-to-be former team there in Seattle, as I guess you could say WNBA trade storm season is picking up.